Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content I will be covering today will be in the sport of football inside the NFL world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my thoughts on what the Dallas Cowboys should do heading into the NFL offseason. So, time is ticking on the clock. NFL free agency begins on Monday, and we will be full steam ahead into the NFL offseason. So, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I do believe this is one of the most important NFL offseasons of recent memory. We know the Dallas Cowboys really don't do much during free agency. We draft well. I think there's a conversation that we draft better than anybody else in the NFL. But in order to win Super Bowls, you must make massive trades. You must do the work during the offseason signing free agents. And I think Jerry Jones knows that because time is ticking on the clock for him and his lifetime. He's in his early 80s, and he does want to see another Super Bowl. So ball's in your court here. We're going to see how much you really want to win another Super Bowl because you're going to have to make the moves to do it this NFL offseason. And a realistic window for the Dallas Cowboys, I know the jokes are there. We haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. I haven't seen one in my lifetime. But a realistic standpoint, they have 2 to 3 years to win it all. If you don't win it all in those 2 to 3 years or to an NFC Championship, you might as well blow it up and officially start a real rebuild in Dallas. But the Dallas Cowboys are doing their job. They have restructured some big, high-value contracts. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Smith. Yeah, they're some of the best players at their respective positions, but they were eating up a lot of cap space. And luckily, all three of these players were willing enough to restructure their deals to help the team grow during this NFL offseason. And yeah, we tagged George Pickens to a 1-year contract of franchise tag. Don't listen to all these big mouths and ESPN trying to spoon feed you guys the idea this was a bad move. If you guys are Dallas Cowboys fan and you follow the team very closely, you know the Cowboys had no choice but to tag George Pickens. Now, it's their responsibility to tell George Pickens you're there for the long haul, but cap space, we were in a bad situation. We had to do what we had to do to tag George Pickens to make sure he doesn't test the market and leave us. So I think this is not a bad idea to tag George Pickens because it's a team-friendly deal. We have to rebuild the entire defense basically this NFL offseason. Now, if you don't give George Pickens a long-term deal by July 15th, then things could get ugly. But looking at what we got to do, it's time to rebuild the defense. The asking price for Max Crosby looked like it was going to be too much for us. So I think we should go after edge rushers like Jalen Phillips or Trey Hendrickson that will be on the market for free agency. I'm looking at the linebacker position. That was an absolute mess. Everybody playing the position other than Overshown. Let's get some linebackers to accompany him. Playing alongside of him, let's go after Nakobe Dean. Let's go after Devin Bush. Let's go after Bobby Okereke. I like him a lot. Let's go after Tremont Edmonds, who was just released by the Chicago Bears to play alongside Overshown. I'm looking at the cornerback position. You got Jamal Dean, Greg Newsome, Reek Woolen out there at the cornerback position. We definitely need some depth in our secondary. And the 12th and 20th overall picks, you cannot whiff on these picks. These are very important picks for the Dallas Cowboys here. It's got to be defensive picks at picks 12 and 20. Caleb Downs or Sonny Edwards, two outstanding players from Ohio State. Whichever one is still on the board, I would draft either or. You can't go wrong there. I'm looking at Mansour Delane possibly there at 12. But both of those guys that I just mentioned are gone. Mansour Delane is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL draft. Cornerback from LSU, I would go after him. 20th overall, if you get either Sonny Edwards or Caleb Downs, 20th overall, we got to go after a corner or the best edge rusher available. But I'm looking at the 20th overall pick. Avion Terrell, cornerback from Clemson. If he's still on the board, I think he's one of the best corners in this NFL draft. I would definitely go after him as well. So the Dallas Cowboys, we got our work cut out for us. I'm looking at the offense does not need to be touched. Like, I really don't need to see anything done for free agency offensively, realistically. Like, you could draft some offensive linemen in the later rounds, but everything on offense looks fine to me. Dak Prescott, definitely a top 10 quarterback. I'm glad to have him. You just re-signed Javonte Williams to a 3-year contract. So he's under contract, took a team-friendly deal. You don't have to worry about getting a running back. Wide receivers we're good to go. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, they're guaranteed one more year together at least. Jake Ferguson, he's all right at tight end. We don't need to touch anything offensively. It's the defense. You look at the defensive side of the ball. The interior defensive line for the Dallas Cowboys is really good. Odigizua, Kenny Clark, and Quinion Williams. The defensive tackles is outstanding. We can grow as an edge rusher because an edge rusher in football is basically like a closer in baseball, a closing pitcher in baseball. You need that in the clutch, pivotal situations on defensive stands. Clearly, after we traded away Michael Parsons, that was a bad deal for us at the time. I mean, we got some good things out of it. Basically turned the trade into getting Quinyon Williams, Kenny Clark, and a first-round pick, 2 first-round picks. So I think we're setting pretty good interior defensive line. We need that edge rusher. I'm looking at everything other than that. We need to rebuild. Like Overshown is my guy at linebacker, but he is injury prone. Unfortunately, I hate to say it's like every good linebacker we get is injury prone. Like Overshown, as outstanding as he is, he's been battling through injuries. You look at Sean Lee years ago, Leighton Vander Esch years ago. Like every linebacker we get that's good, they're injury prone, unfortunately. So that's why I think we definitely need to get Overshown a mate at the linebacker position to play alongside him, or you still got a strong linebacker if he goes down, unfortunately, again next year. Corners, we definitely need some depth here. Trayvon Diggs, we released him by the end of the NFL season last year. Deron Bland, I don't think that he's worth the $90 million. Again, this is a guy that's battling injuries after being an All-Pro back in 2023. We definitely need some depth there. Safeties, we definitely need a new pair of safeties out there in Dallas. Like Donovan Wilson, it's time for him to go. Everything needs to be touched on the defensive side of the ball. That's all we need to do for free agency. And I think, realistically, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, the offense, we were averaging like 25 to 30 points a game, and we only won 7 games last year. So if you get your high-power offense back with Brian Schottenheimer calling the plays, all you need is 2 to 3 difference makers on the defense, and you actually realistically build the defense around those respective players. Then the Dallas Cowboys, I think, are true threats to go on a run next year in the NFC, and you have to consider them as heavyweight contenders if they fix this defense. But it all comes down to the front office. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, do your damn job. And before I end the segment, I almost forgot about our kicker, Brandon Aubrey. I don't know how this situation is going to go down with Brandon Aubrey. I've already prepared myself mentally to lose one of the best kickers in the league because the Jones family has tried to make Brandon Aubrey one of the highest paid kickers in the National Football League, and he wants more money. So if you're not going to get more, or if you want more, knowing we have to rebuild the defense, as talented as you are, Brandon Aubrey, I'm prepared for the Dallas Cowboys to put a tender on him. Possibly we get a second-round pick if we can't match somebody else's offer for him. So I think this offseason is going to be one of the most important offseasons in recent memory for the Dallas Cowboys. This will really show Dallas Cowboys fans how much the Jones family really wants to bring another Super Bowl trophy to Dallas in Arlington, Texas. But those are my thoughts on what the Dallas Cowboys need to do this NFL offseason. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.